And there we go, Logan being very brave today. It's that sort of day where you need to cool off. Any fish in there? Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Today we're at the pretty village of Titchfield in Hampshire. It's just to the south of Fareham, and we're going to be doing a 5-mile circular route to the south of the village along the side of an old canal, and we're going to make our way out to the shore onto the Solent, and then we're going to come back through some beautiful woodland and some quite gorgeous open fields, and hopefully along the way we'll come across some interesting things to look at as well. And just before we start the walk, we're going to have a little look around the village itself. There's a few things I want to show you there. It's a beautiful sunny morning. I'm filming middle of September. It's already 18 degrees. As you can probably tell, I'm squinting. The sun is out in all its glory. So it should be great for a walk. Are we ready? You looks as though you're about to go to sleep. Come on. Well, we'll have a little quick wander through the village itself. It gets its name from the Old English word of ticken, which I think stands for goat. Now, right by me here is an interesting monument, I suppose you'd call it, and you'll see there's some rope there which is attached around some bollards, and there's a plaque on there which, now forgive me if I read it, but it tells you a little bit about the history of the place. For more than 1,000 years, Titchfield was a port on the tidal river Meon, and in the latter part of the 16th century, the progressive silting of the river caused navigational problems, and in 1612, the 3rd Earl of Southampton built a dyke at Meon shore. A canal was then constructed from the sea to the tannery that was upstream from the church. Now, I'll be telling you a little bit more about the canal later on, because that's got a really interesting history attached to it. Well, this is the square, and very pretty it looks too. Now over there is the Bugle Hotel, 400 years old, a former coaching inn, and there used to be stocks in front of it. It once had its own brewery. Indeed, at one stage Titchfield had 5 breweries in the mid-19th century. Just heading through here, this is Market Place. There was an old market hall built here in 1619, but it moved to behind the Queen's Head pub in 1810, became derelict, and was moved lock, stock and barrel to the Weald and Downland Museum at Singleton in 1971. And over the road there is the aforementioned Queen's Head, another 17th century pub. There used to be a carnival in Titchfield in October each year, held since 1880, but I think it was cancelled in 2017, and I don't think it happened either in 2018, and certainly not this year with COVID-19. But it really is quite pretty. A lot of Georgian style properties as well. Look at that one over there, Mayberries. And just wandering round here, these are the parish rooms built and bequeathed to the village in 1890. So Titchfield used to be a town, but the term village started to get used in the early 1900s. It looks like it's won a few awards as well. And finally, the last thing I want to show you is this telephone box. It's actually listed. It's a K6 telephone Koisk of 1935 design, I believe. Well, this is the Church of St. Peter's just behind me here. And there it is in glorious sunshine. It's probably one of the oldest churches in England, and certainly one of the oldest in Hampshire. It's evolved over the centuries, but originally a Saxon church here in 680 AD. Indeed, the lower part of the tower is the original Saxon structure. In the 12th century, an aisle was thrown out to the south side of the nave. In the 14th century, the chapel was added to the south side of the chancel. In the 15th century, an aisle was added to the north side of the nave and the spire added to the west tower. There was a major restoration in 1816. And it's got these wonderful steps to the tower outside. I think there are 6 bells, the oldest dated 1393. And it's also got a wonderful Norman arch in the porch. Now, we haven't really got enough time to have a look inside in any great detail, but there is one thing that I want to show you, so I'll show you that now. I will have to wear my mask though, so I might sound a bit muffled. I just want to quickly show inside this fantastic, I think this is the Earl of Southampton Memorial. Isn't this wonderful? It looks as though it's been made out of marble. Excuse the muffled sound as I've got to wear a mask. But wow, that is something incredible. Quite beautiful. Well, I've parked my car at a free car park just off Bridge Street, which is to the east of the village, and it's right by the disused canal. Speaking of which, I'll show you around. There's a handy little map here, which hopefully you can see. So there's Bridge Street and there's the car park. So we are literally going to follow this path all the way down to the sea, and then we're going to have a look at the harbour and the nature reserve there. And then we'll head back, and our way back will be sort of along this way, as it were. Well, it really is quite glorious. I'm going to struggle to keep my shadow out of the picture today, I'm afraid, with the sun, but there you go. So walking alongside the canal, so if I just pan around, we've got these quite stunning water meadows all along my left hand side, and then if I pan around very slowly, this is the canal that runs alongside on the right hand side. Now, no one really knows for sure why it was built or who built it. It's only just about 2 miles long, and it runs between Titchfield and the sea, and part of it is links in with the river Meon, and part of it runs parallel with the Meon. The river Meon is 21 miles long, and that runs from East Meon in the north down to the Hillhead Harbour and into the Solent. Well, in 1616, as I might have mentioned earlier, a dyke was built across the head of the estuary where it meets the sea, and we'll see that shortly. And the idea may have been to allow it to silt up and create fertile land, because the problem was that then it cut off Titchfield from the sea. So it may well then have been the reason why the canal was then built as a new river, almost, as you'd say, so that obviously boats could get up there. But the problem with that theory is that it's not a particularly wide canal, so it wouldn't have really been much good for wide boats. The other theory is that the canal or river was built mainly to irrigate the land. From time to time they would open sluices and flood the water meadows, thus adding nutrient and making it much more fertile. So was it a canal or not? If it was a canal, it was probably the second oldest canal in the country. Probably the only one at Exeter is older. Anyway, we've come to our first of, I think there are 3 bridges along here, and the water is quite clear and I can see quite a few fish, and obviously dog friendly. They've got a little dog dip here. I'll just see whether my hound will go and investigate. You're going to go and have a look for us. And there we go. Logan being very brave today. It's that sort of day where you need to cool off. Any fish in there? Well, it really is quite exquisite through here. I say I've got the canal on the right. I nearly saw, well, I did see a kingfisher. I was hoping to photograph it, but the blighter flew off. That's something I've never managed to do, capture one of those on film. You've got the sunlight coming through the trees, so we've got a nice bit of shade, and then we've got this lovely open area with the water meadows on the left, and the track's nice and hard, so no problems if you're coming here in the winter, I should imagine, with mud. I don't know if you can see the fish there, about 5-6 inches long, I guess. There is a slight flow to the canal. I've got a funny feeling that this top part is actually fed by the River Meon. Looking at the gravel bottom, it does have that sort of chalk streamy feel to it, doesn't it? Stunning scenery along here, the reflections of the sun off the canal, and in the background you've got the freshly cut crops recently been harvested. I love some of the bulrushes that I can see along here as well. Absolutely smashing. Well, this is our second brick bridge of the walk. I think this is called Hammond Bridge, but it doesn't look quite as old as the canal itself, so I'm guessing it probably replaced an earlier wooden one. Oh, look at the red berries of the hawthorn. Let's have a little look into this field here, and there we have the bales of straw piled up, very much a sign that we're definitely in autumn now, but still get some terrific days this time of year. Nearly a completely blue sky. Now, this is an interesting little part of the canal. There's a dam right across the middle, so you've got this lovely clear water on this side. It seems to be diverting the bulk of the water out onto the left hand side, and that goes out into the what's now the Titchfield Nature Reserve, which was part of the Meon estuary. But look on the left hand side, stagnant, full of duckweed. What a difference between the two sides of the dam. Oh, look at that. Now, Logan, you're definitely not going to go in there, or if you do, you can come back by taxi. Extraordinary. A completely, almost alien world to the canal just a few hundred yards upstream. Well, we're now going to say goodbye to the canal on our walk. We're right at the end here. Just behind me here, this is the site of the original sea lock and it would have been a single gate and used when the tide level was level with the water level in the canal, and the bridge was added in the 18th century between the lock walls, and just beyond there is a wide pond, but the entrance is now blocked by a shingle bank. Well, we've now made it to the sea, which is over on my right, but before we have a little play in there, I'll show you what's on my left, which is the Titchfield Haven Nature Reserve. And I'm actually walking along the dyke that was built. I was telling you about that earlier. So this is all fresh water over here, and that is the estuary of the River Meon. And I see there's a bird viewing platform area in the far distance, so we'll make our way round there and see what we can see. Right folks, now I am not an expert on birds, but I do have my little Collins Gem bird pocket guide, so let's see what we can see. I might have to take some photographs using my zoom, but now the big black fellows, I think those are cormorants, and then I can see some oystercatchers. Those are the ones with the large orange beaks, and obviously the odd Canadian geese floating around. But that's lovely that they've got this little island that's quite close to the viewing platform, so you can see them all. Beautiful here, really is. Wow, what a lovely, pretty little harbour. And I see there's a little cafe over there. So I think it's definitely time for our half-time cup of tea, a sausage roll and a bonio. Well, we're now heading west, following a path that's going along the top of a very sandy cliff, part of the Solent Way. But from here there's some fantastic views across the Solent. Look at that. So on the far right hand side is the Fawley oil refinery and then the big tower there is the disused Fawley power station, and just in front of it is the Cowshot Spit. And then just panning across the Isle of Wight in the very far distance. Very hazy day today, and the Solent absolutely jam-packed full of yachts today. It's filming on a Sunday on a beautiful day, so well, understandable. And even further around, I'll try not to get the sun in the screen, but again, hundreds of yachts. Isn't this beautiful, with the waves crashing against the it's quite a, well, there's a little bit of sand there, but quite a pebbly type of shore, but a lovely sort of light brown colour, and the sea very blue today in that terrific sunshine. Well folks, I know a lot of people do follow some of these walks, so this is an important part of the walk, because we've come as far west as we're going to go, and we're going to start heading north, and there's this field which is on my right and a post with 3 markers, so we're going to follow the one on the left and start heading up that path there, which will eventually take us back to Titchfield. Yep, it's that time of the walk for the official blackberry stop. Want Daddy to get one for you? What about that one? Yeah. Some more there, not very big, but refreshing nonetheless. You get it? Normally you can get them off yourself. Lovely. Right, okay, so we're now going to head off into this little bit of woodland here. We've got such a variety on this walk, and rather than idyllic little copse that we're going to go through now. So still heading in a northerly direction, but it's beautiful in here. We're very much on the homeward leg now, passing through a farm, open fields of different types of crops, quite a variety as well. Just by me on the left there's row upon row of strawberries, which I guess will be next year's crop. And as we were coming through, I saw a field of pumpkins and quite a few fields of maize, which got a few weeks before they'll be ready to be picked. And then here on the right hand side, massive field of wonderful sunflowers, obviously being grown for their seed. And then over here, some lovely colours out at the moment. Wow, look at those cones up on that pine tree. Massive. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a thumbs up or a like, and do make a comment. And if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. That way hopefully you'll be able to join us for another walk sometime in the future. We've had a super walk today, a lot of variety. As I said before, we had the canal, we've had open fields, woodland, and of course the nature reserve and the sea, and above all some quite stunning and glorious weather. The sun has been out all the time and it's been very nice, and with a nice breeze as well. So we're nearly back at Titchfield. I think one of the pubs will be open by now. So until we meet again, thanks for watching and cheerio.